This is Brad Matheny. Today is the 7th of March. This is the Plan Your Trade video for Friday, March 7th. Let's take a look at the data and try to understand what's going on. Now, I will leave this chart from yesterday up. We are still retesting this resistance or support area down here at roughly 575. I'm looking to see whether we get rejection at this point. I do believe it's pretty likely that we're going to get some rejection here, moving this blue level kind of out into that area, possibly setting up a flagging pattern. We're going to have to see how the markets move. Right now, the SPY is up just a little bit. But again, this deep low, washout low, the news we've had this week on tariffs, if you look at it, we've had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If we do get a little rebound here, it would be pretty amazing to see, this support level hold while, and here's really the deeper support. But while this market rolling downward, remember, I think I talked about it yesterday, but, the general trend for the market is bullish. That's after 30 plus years in this industry, developing software and trading systems. I need you to understand that, failure is not something that people plan for. It's just psychologically not a desired outcome. No one plans for failure. No one plans for collapse. No one plans for, destruction. That's just not what happens unless you're, in war or some other type of a scenario. But the whole idea here is that we've seen a pretty decent pullback. We've seen a collapse in the trend near the February 21st timeline that I talked about. We do have that secondary March 21st area, so I will draw that for you. Right, basically here. So let me draw it as a box. We do have that March 21st range, basically from here to maybe here, where we could end up in a big breakdown. I'm looking to see if we get any type of an immediate reversion back to the upside. I've highlighted this before and I keep talking about it, but I'm telling you, it makes sense to me that, the markets have overreacted to this low side. We could very well get rejection right here. We're at 573.73 right now, pre-market. All we need to do is move above this 577 level. You must understand that this was a big move. This is a 2% washout low yesterday from the previous close. And we've had a couple of those big close here, roll down, close here, roll down. This is a pretty big kind of a washout pattern. End of the week, I would be very, very cautious of a move downward here. I think, like I said, we could break downward. I'm not saying it's unreasonable, but as we keep dancing around this level, there's a pretty strong possibility that the SPY and price is going to attempt to hold at this level and move upward. Now, a lot of people don't believe this is the case, but I do believe this is the case. And like I said, we're just looking to see here. We got a lot of time, before the market opens. And let's see, that really, we come down to that 573, 575, 577 level. That's really kind of the area I'm looking at. We're dancing around that level. We're moving back up again. We'll see how this market moves. But again, up above 577.40 roughly, we're moving to the upside, I believe. Down where we're at right now, we stay below 573, 575 and a quarter. We should be moving to the downside. Now, rally today, again, I would urge you to take consideration into the potential bottom here. Let's watch what happens the first 20 or 30 minutes. You do understand that I'm leaning towards the bullish side here, thinking that as long as this rejects these lows, attempts to move back up above this area, we could get a pretty solid rally. Now, understand that when I say a pretty solid rally, it's the end of the week. And look at this move in the markets. Spread this out. How much of a rally are you talking about, Brad? Well, in reality, guys, the market could move back up here to this 582, 580 area. So that's about a 9, 10, 11 point rally potential today. Of course, if we don't hold support roughly at this 573 area and break down, we're going down lower. We're going down to the 565 level. But again, I do believe that the markets are looking for stability and looking for some real, upward movement here. Gold and silver are fairly flat. We'll go over that here in a minute. So here's the rally phase. I think we're going to get a rally today. And again, it's not so much a guess, it's just more gut instinct. The market doesn't move really in straight lines. Now, you can count these, A, B, C down to here. But, we haven't had any big pullback. So again, we haven't had any real pause in this trend. We typically do get a pause or a pullback in this trend. So I'm kind of looking for more of a pullback before we move into this selling phase. Okay. I really do believe that that's, more likely than a continued breakdown in the market. There's tariffs. Yeah. There's news. Yeah. There's market uncertainty. Yeah. But I still see that as only about 7 to 8% of the total U.S. market. And like I was saying yesterday, people will still buy. If tariffs impact cars and avocados and Canadian beer, so what? I don't buy new cars every year. I don't buy Canadian beer. And yeah, I love my avocados, but if it goes up 20% and I have to pay $1.25 instead of $1, okay, I'll buy it if I want it. And that's how it works. So, like I said, people will just shift their spending. They will still spend. It's not going to disrupt the economy that much. So I'm looking for a bottom. You know this. Been looking for a bottom for a couple of days. But I want you to be aware that, we are in a downtrend until we find that bottom. We're moving lower. So be aware that the primary trend right now is down, but I think we could be seeking a bottom, looking for a base level. And right now that rejection level is that 575, 574, 576 area on the SPY. Okay, QQQ, kind of the same setup. We're deeply below this level, but remember, we're down here near this pre-election level. So when you get right down to it, guys, we're still kind of looking for that basing bottoming mode, potentially over in this area. I'll draw it as a separate box, I guess. This would be kind of a deeper low level. I'll do it as light green. And like I said, if we get rejection off of this level, this is pre-election. That's why I think it's so important is that, as of this point in time, we didn't know what was going on in the U.S. We didn't know how the market would react. The election hit. We had the big Trump bump. Now we have the rolling downward trend. It would make sense to me that this would be very critical support on a price line and an event series related to the market. So, we're down here near this 50% retracement. We're down here near this pre-election support. And if we were to get a reversal at this point in time, I could see, honestly, a move back up into this 500 area, potentially targeting a very quick move higher up into this 510, 512, 515 area. But again, we're in a downtrend. We're seeking a bottom. There's, in my opinion, again, about a 60 or 70% chance we're going to get rejection here in the next day or two, maybe today. Maybe today's the day. But I need you to be aware that we're in a primary downward trend. I would stay fairly cautious. Again, the 584 level, 484, 485 level, really to me is, kind of the last line of defense, really kind of in this area. We get below that, guys, and yeah, we're going to move down, probably down into this 460 area. But again, I am looking right now for support to hold up. I think evidently, you look at this on an hourly basis, and I would say that there's fairly strong evidence that we get, we've got rejection across this level. We've got rejection down here. We've got rejection here. And now we're just below that level as of yesterday's close. And we're currently we haven't moved very far, just very close to this. I'm kind of looking for rejection to come back up and try to rally back out of this. I think that's a highly likely outcome. We'll see how it plays out. Remember, I'm trying to give you information. I want you to make your own decisions, but I'm trying to give you information to, help you make the decisions. And at this point, like I said, we're in a downtrend. I mean, you can clearly see, I shouldn't have to point this out, but, you can clearly see we're in a decent downtrend. Kind of hard to argue anything else. We're kind of breaking down right down this channel. But like I said, when you look back over here at the pre-election and post-election data, we're coming into that support zone. We filled the gap. We're pre-election lows. We're building off that potential support. I'm looking to see if we build a base and try to rally back up out of it. If so, and we do get this low, let me show it to you again. So if we come up and get this low down here and move up into this rally, we could be looking at a fairly solid rebound setting up over the next 4, 5, 6 trading days. And I think it's very likely, personally. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Remember, I could be wrong. I could be right. It's just, in my opinion, coming down to this critical low is likely going to be support. And I think that support's going to be enough to get a little pullback out of the markets, leading to our March 21st breakdown. So we'll see how it plays out, but this makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, gold and silver are in a top resistance mode. Top resistance mode for gold and silver means that we should move higher. Well, let me check. This was in counter trend, I thought. Yep, counter trend mode. So that means that we're going to be looking at a bottom. So how does that bottom look? Generally, that bottom looks kind of like this. It's basically a breakdown into an acceleration mode to the upside. And a top resistance pattern is a rally into a weakening trend. Now, it can be, strong weakening trend or mild weakening trend. So in this case, you've got to look back over here, the 6th and we're at the 7th here. And you got to remember that we had that rotational mode here with the top resistance pattern in counter trend mode setting up for today. Now, do we have a breakdown yet? No. We kind of do over here in silver, but we don't have any real breakdown in gold. So in reality, maybe this low or this low was our breakdown, and maybe we're going to get a bit of a rally here. And that would essentially be the same type of scenario here, where we had this low and this low breaking through here, getting a bit of a rally phase here in silver. Again, the top resistance in counter trend mode is, spread this back out, is kind of a bottoming pattern. So that would be essentially a bottoming type of mode like this. If we've already established the bottom here, then this may revert into a fairly strong upward rally. So if the bottom was actually set up about 10, 12 hours earlier yesterday, and we're setting up the bottom right here, we could move into a fairly strong rally phase transitionally throughout the day. So let's see how this plays out in metals. Gold moving higher, silver moving lower doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence that we're going to see a big rally out of this. But knowing what the markets are doing, and let's take a look at the dollar. Dollar's down to 104, come down from 108. That's going to loosen up metals a little bit to a breakout. So we could get a very solid rally phase in metals, and we'll see how it plays out. Okay, so metals again are moving into that top resistance and counter trend mode, which will be a bottom. We're in bullish trending, we're in congestion, and we're in bullish short-term trending. I think we're going to be moving higher, just like I said. The next move should be up into 29.30, 29.40. We're at 29.30 here, but 29.40, 29.48 for gold. And the next move here should be up to 33.40 for silver. So we'll see how it plays out. And lastly, we come back over here to Bitcoin. And this is again hourly. And it's playing out through my consolidation phase pretty darn well. So, my research, particularly about Bitcoin, hasn't changed much. We're consolidating. We're moving through this channel. I can, on this hourly chart, move things down a little bit, giving us a better view than daily. And you can see we're moving through this consolidation phase. We are in, looks like we've come up, down, up, a minor. So we should be moving down a little bit today, I think. It looks like we're going to try to roll back down to here and then back up into here. So I would say that we're going to get a minor little roll, retesting these lows at around 85,150. But we are in this consolidation mode. We are going to tighten into this range until we get kind of a breakaway mode, and we should get a lot of volatility over here as we break away. Now, this breakaway phase is very interesting because once we get into that breakaway mode, depending on what the markets are doing and depending on how the market's set up, we either have one of two options out of this. We are either going to hold here and try to rally to the upside. That's what can happen in this consolidation phase. Or we're going to break down in this scenario to the ultimate low, which, as I mentioned to you, is way down here around 60, 61,000. So understand that, we're looking at a very exciting move here coming up for Bitcoin. And like I said, we're in the consolidation phase, and we have until Friday, March 14th, next week. Really, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th maybe, for that apexing. So volatility is going to get very big middle end of next week for Bitcoin. You're probably going to see a move. If I were to give you an idea of how volatile it would be, probably going to be in this range for volatility. And the reason I'm using that is I'm going off of this low up into this lower support, lower resistance level here, giving you the idea we could get a pretty wild swing. That's a move from 81,600 to 95,400. It's a $13,000 swing potentially. And like I said, I think that if we hold this excess phase peak pattern and break down, we're going to be looking at this ultimate low. So if we hold this pattern and it continues down to this ultimate low, that means the major markets, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, are all going to be moving down into an ultimate low type pattern somewhere around the end of March. Okay, March 26th through 30th, let's say, we could be looking at an ultimate low pattern right over here in this area. The breakdown should start right here. This is the area that I think the breakdown is likely to happen. So let me mark that with a blue box. This is kind of where I think the markets are going to start to fail. So, we have about another week of potential rally, potential sideways move. And again, depending on what Bitcoin does here, it could affect the SPY. If Bitcoin does rally back up into this area, trying to find some support and then breaks down, that could also affect the SPY and the NASDAQ in a bit of a rally phase as well. So you got to kind of pay attention to what's going on to see what's happening. But again, this consolidation, rolling, potentially this downward trend here. Now remember, this is all speculation. I'm trying to give you an idea of what I think is going to happen. And you guys use your judgment to try to understand it. Is that if we get a little breakdown, this is hourly. Let me spread this out a little bit. If we get a little breakdown in the early morning, coming down, maybe retesting these lows a little, and then roll back up out of this, I think that there's a pretty good chance, and again, I'll have to spread it out because it's hourly. I think there's a pretty good chance we could come down kind of like this and try to move higher today in Bitcoin. And that could carry over in the SPY and the NASDAQ as well. So be aware, I really do believe that we're trying to find support. I really think that we're trying to find support right now. I call it hammering out a bottom. So I'll give you an example here. These higher lows versus these lower highs. I'll draw it out for you. So higher lows like this mean that we're trying to build a base, build a bottom. Lower highs like this means that we're consolidating. You can see as we get into this channel, we're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Okay, and we can even draw a tight little channel right across here and right across here. And that puts us at a moderate apex on Sunday. So we could get we could see a pretty big change today. And we could see a pretty big volatility event starting Sunday, Monday of next week. We could get a pretty big volatility event, meaning price moves in an extreme volatile mode as we try to break this apex and this longer term apex way out here. So let's see how things play out, guys. Like I said, this is this is one of those things where early morning, I'd probably urge you to stay cautious in the first hour. Again, simply because we're in this flagging pattern and we're going to be struggling to find a trend. We're not in any solid trend in Bitcoin. And again, kind of the same thing back over here with the SPY. We are in a downtrend. Spread this out. We are in a downtrend. We are kind of trying to find support. I would say watch the first hour, see what's going on with the market, because long and short of it, there could be a fake out this morning. There could be a bit of a roll and then a fake out. So we'll see how it plays out. Okay, guys, look, have a great weekend. Go get some. And remember, metals, like I said, should continue to moderately melt upward. We'll see how it plays out today. Remember, we're looking for that bottom setup. I think we may have actually seen it yesterday and over here this morning in silver. But if this is correct, we're going to get a nice little melt up trend in metals today. Okay, guys, talk to you later. Go get some.